Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Again, I'm sorry about my internet. It's been acting weird. Yeah, it's acting real weird. I apologize for that. Yeah. I just saw some of you for the last hour and 45 minutes, something like that. Discussing something completely different, but this is one of those things where we want to put the word out there. We want to make sure we keep this name in people's heads. Give me 1 second here, folks. Let's educate ourselves on this case a little bit.
With Abby Hornacek and unsealed alien files now. It's all part of the Fox Files on Fox Nation.
Okay, I guess that's just footage of her being searched for. I think it's pronounced Kiely. Let me see if I could find a news. That's what I was hoping to have here. I just want a quick news update before I play the press conference. So sad, such a pretty girl. Man. Let's see. Okay, there's a TV station there. Maybe this one. All right, here we go.
The Roseville Auto Mall's Trade In and Trade Up sales event is all about giving you the most options with the best deals. Thousands of vehicles.
Eureka Road, Roseville Auto Mall,
to choose from.
Toyota.
Trade In and Trade Up sales event at the Roseville Auto Mall. Driven to be the best.
We're here at the Truckee Recreation Center. This is just off Donner Pass Road, and this is really serving as the central hub for friends, family, and loved ones who are looking for Kiely. So I want you to take a look at what's happening right now. Throughout the day, we have seen detectives here as well, and community members have been being dispatched throughout the day to look for that teen.
Need you to be looking out for Kiely and Kiely's car.
Right now,
Is anybody willing to go to Reno and maybe Midtown? Yeah, perfect.
the search is on for 16-year-old Kiely Rodni. She was reported missing Saturday morning after she didn't come home from a party.
I asked her to wake me up when she got home, like she always does, and she said, okay, and thanks, Mama, love you. And that's the last I ever heard from her.
Sammy Smith, one of Kiely's good friends, is organizing crews of community members who are looking for the teen across the
That girl's all business, man.
Glenshire. These flyers are posted in neighborhoods, downtown Truckee, and at campsites.
So this is where everybody's hanging out. Kiely and I were meeting up right here a lot.
Local young people call this open area near the Prosser family campground the Sanctuary. It's a common place for parties. Sammy says she was here with Kiely Friday night, along with tons of other high school and college kids from the Bay Area all the way to Nevada.
Right now, our estimate is about 200 to 250, maybe more.
What she
Yo, can you guys imagine the debauchery? The debauchery that takes place in those parties? Like a bunch of unsupervised kids just drinking, doing God knows what, whatever kind of drugs are out. Like, can you imagine? Jeez, I hate to sound like such a square, you know? I mean, but still, like that's, man, oh, that's scary, man. Have your daughter hanging out in an environment like that. It's not even a question of how well you trust her, you know?
She and Kiely's family want to know is how no one saw her leave in her silver Honda CRV. Her car is still missing.
I can't believe it. There has to have been one person There are people sitting in cars. There are people everywhere around this place.
She and detectives are begging for people who were at this party to come forward. Kiely's mom needs answers.
My head is all over the place and I'm terrified. Bad thoughts are very strong and hard to keep at bay. But I'm trying to hold out hope, you know, that we'll find her, that she'll come home.
Now, I just spoke with the Placer County Sheriff's Office. They said something that's been really tough with this case is that because so many people at this party were minors and were underage drinking and doing drugs, that a lot of people haven't come forward. We do want to remind you that a tip line has been set up by the Sheriff's Office. You can see that number at the bottom of your screen right now. When you call, make sure you select option 7. We also have this phone number posted right now on KCRA.com. We're live in Truckee. Brittany Hope, KCRA 3 News.
So, Brittany, we know the Placer County Sheriff's Office is investigating this as an abduction. Why, if no one thus far has said that they saw anything, why are they investigating this as an abduction?
Lisa, the only reason they are giving me right now is just because they have not yet found her car. Now, when I asked the Placer County Sheriff's Office when they upgraded this to an abduction, they did say they are still considering other leads and possibilities that could include an accident, or maybe she just ran away.
All right, Brittany Hope with the very latest for us on this search for this missing teen. Thank you.
I like that. I think that because everyone is seeing it as being super suspicious right off the bat. That doesn't mean that they're looking at one person and they're railroading them. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean that that's what's happening. What's happening is that they're taking her being missing as seriously as it being an abduction. So they're treating it like an abduction in order to give haste, in order to give the case haste, or approach it with haste, I should say. And then, so what they're going to do, obviously they're going to entertain the possibility. They're still entertaining the possibility that she ran away. Maybe she met a boy, fell in love. They decided to take off. Maybe she's been saving money. Who knows? Maybe she got pregnant, got freaked out, decided to take off. I mean, who knows? That's all I'm saying. I'm just giving some possible examples. I mean, there's all kinds of trouble that 16-year-old kids can get into and all kinds of reasons why they might run away, even if they're happy at home. So we have to take all of this stuff into consideration. But I like the fact that law enforcement is treating it like an abduction just because it makes it that important. You're not going, oh, we don't want to go there yet. You know what I mean? Not doing that. Let's see if she ran away first. No, I would treat it like an abduction, like she's in danger, and eliminate all the other possibilities around it, not eliminate the possibility of abduction, by exploring all the other stuff first. So I'm comfortable with law enforcement doing that. Give me 1 second here. And so there was a press conference, and I'm going to go ahead and play that.
Because this is an active investigation, we'll only be providing information on a certain set information and facts. We realize there will be more questions, but we're pleased directing anybody to contact our unified command center through our tip line, and we will help answer those questions as best we can. Now, for the operational and investigative side of the investigation into Kiely Rodni, I'd first like to introduce Placer County Sheriff's Detective Sergeant Scott Alford.
Okay.
First of all, thank you everybody for coming out. This is an amazing community. We appreciate the support for the family. We appreciate everybody's concern. Just to let you know, from the investigation side on the missing persons investigation, we are working with local, state, and federal agencies. We're using every tactic we can to try to get any information that might help further our investigation. In any tip that comes in, we're taking all the tips from the tip line from any means, whether it's emailed, called in, through the conversations with kids that we met with here at the community center. Those are all being chronologically put into our tip spreadsheet, and we're addressing those, prioritizing them, and we're taking a look at every single one. So no, we don't, if you think you have information and you don't know if it's relevant, we want it. We want any information because we'll follow up on.
Oh man, you're opening up a can of worms there.
Obviously, we have.
I mean, I agree with them, but
so that we can focus our resources. And so those who had firsthand contact with Kiely, who interacted with her near the time that she was last seen, those take priority. But we're looking at, you know, video that people were sending in, anything. We're looking at timestamps so we can create the best timeline possible. Take all that information, and we're committing all the resources we can to follow up.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to introduce Nevada County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Hack, who will be speaking more on the search and rescue efforts surrounding the search for
Sergeant Hack, dude. You said you already don't want to screw with this guy, bro. Look at him.
Thank you. Sergeant Dennis Hack, Search and Rescue Coordinator for the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. I want to let you know at this time we have over 16 agencies involved in our search effort. In the field right now, we have over 100 volunteers. Those volunteers are searching on foot. We're using canines. We're using vehicles, including motorcycles, UTVs, Jeeps, and such. We're using air assets to assist in the search, and we're also searching on the water using boats. As of this meeting right now, we've logged over 1,500 man hours in our effort. We received information on Saturday of the initiation of the missing persons report. We moved into a unified command with Placer County and started conducting a search and rescue operation in Nevada County. Throughout Saturday and Sunday, the incident was handled by Placer County and Nevada County. As the event expanded, we reached out to partners at the state level and also federally to assist us in the search. Search and rescue operates off of the information that we have available to us. The way that we develop that information and design our search areas and our objectives is based off of.
I feel so bad for him. He's so nervous.
The field while we're searching.
Those cameras.
The second way that we receive our information is through the development of the investigation. What we need is the community's help in assisting with providing that information on the investigation. And what I would encourage you to do is, if you have that information, we need the information from the community. We need you to take advantage of that tip line and provide us with additional information.
No, this is California. Oh, okay. Sorry. Never mind. You were addressing Nevada gal.
And now we're going to have a brief comment from the FBI. I'd like to introduce Supervisory Senior Resident Agent Forrestel.
Good afternoon. The FBI has and continues to take instances where the most vulnerable in our society are victimized. And we are very happy that we're able to come alongside and partner with Placer County Sheriff's Department, Nevada County Sheriff's Department.
Oh, I'm sure it is Crime Store Junkie.
Part of the full investigative team. As of today, we had approximately 50 other agents up here helping run down some of those priority informations and leads that have come through. And we're going to continue to partner with both agencies as we see this through. So thank you for your time.
Now I'd like to introduce Placer County Sheriff's Captain Troy Sander and Nevada County Sheriff's Office Captain Sam Brown, who have both been in charge of the Unified Command since we have learned of Kiely's disappearance.
Good afternoon, everybody. Sam Brown. I'm a captain with the Nevada County Sheriff's Office. First off, I really just want to say thank you for the partnership that we've had in our Unified Command. Placer County is always a great partner and helps us out quite a bit and is able to help us expand in the abilities of what we can do in a situation like this.
The dude on the right, his nightstick has seen action. That's all I'm saying. His nightstick has definitely seen action.
I mean, there's so many agencies to list realistically, but Truckee Police Department, CHP, the FBI, I mean, the list goes on, and we have a lot of people that are here giving support and folks in the field. Between our 100 or 150-ish law enforcement officials, we have about 100 searchers in the field and people such as yourselves that are coming out and providing all the community support. That's really what's going to be needed to help to hopefully find some clues or some solutions on where we're at and how do we move forward. I think the biggest message I can say is that we're leaving no stone unturned. We're really working as hard as we possibly can. Teams are tired, much like the family, and we're trying to do our best so that we're supporting the family. We've tried to meet with them regularly and make sure that they have our contact information, and we're trying to be as transparent as possible and continue on in our investigation and our search. Again, I just really want to thank everybody for the partnership, and that we're going to continue working throughout this process and hopefully come up with some positive news that we can bring back to all of you.
Thank you. Troy Sander, Placer Sheriff. We're all here for one reason, and we appreciate the community support. We care. Many of us are parents. We're involved. We're committed, and we will stay committed. I want to reiterate
I knew you were going to do that, Jerry.
Nevada County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, we really appreciate their help. They've come in to help us streamline this process, make it more efficient, make sure we're doing the right things based on best practices. So thank you very much to them. I'd also like to thank the California Highway Patrol for allowing us to house our operations center here, for one, to be close to the Truckee community, more importantly, to be close to the family. So I leave you with a point that I want everyone to know. There's a lot of information coming out there, and a lot of people are asking questions. If you have to ask yourself whether or not you should share some information about what happened, you've already answered the question. No information is too small. Every piece of information we're going to put together to build a puzzle, to continue to push forward, to allow the machine to turn. We're not going to back down. We're 100% committed. And I appreciate the community coming out here. Please keep the family in mind. Realize that when you inundate them with a lot of social media stuff that a lot of it vets out not to be true, we need you to push that information to the tip line. Let the detectives do the work.
Nice.
Let this family try to work through this process they're going through. So I want to appreciate, again, my partners in this endeavor, and we appreciate your time. Thank you.
He's like, I don't want any filters. I want us to be the filters of information, and that's it.
Brief comment about how her department is supporting Kiely's family and the community at large.
Hi, all. Phoebe Bell. I'm the Behavioral Health Director for Nevada County, but also a Truckee resident for 30 years. And I've raised my children here too. And I am wanting to acknowledge right now how painful and hard this time is for everybody. Every single person here is here because you care about our community, about this family, about this young person, about all our young people. And in that vein, I really want to encourage us all to model for ourselves and each other how to best care for ourselves during this hard time. Please talk about how you're feeling. Acknowledge that you might be having a hard time sleeping, or that it's bringing up a lot of fear and anxiety for you. Reach out for help. We have a team of therapists here. They have orange lanyards around their neck. They're over there. They're here to talk to you and support you. Maybe you need some advice about how to talk to your young people about what's going on and how to
see. This is really, really smart.
Whatever it is that you need right now, please reach out. That's the best way we can care for ourselves in this really hard.
That's really smart. Because at first you think, you're like, what is with this kumbaya bullshit that this lady is spewing out right now? Like, what is she doing? Like, what? We want to hear about how they're going to find this girl. She actually is. This is actually extremely intelligent. I see exactly what she's doing. What we have here, folks, is a situation where you have a bunch of kids. I don't know how many, but it was a lot. A bunch of kids drinking, drugging, having premarital relations, just having the most debaucherous fun that kids could possibly have at that age. Their hormones are going wild. Their curiosity to expand is going crazy, and they're completely unsupervised. But now there's this situation, and these people are afraid to talk to cops because, well, if I tell them this, then I'm going to have to tell them that I was smoking weed, or gonna have to tell them that I was doing meth, or I have to tell them that I was rolling on ecstasy, or I was on mushrooms. Like, paranoid as shit. Kids are going to freak out. Like, I'm going to go to jail for the rest of my life because I ate mushrooms. That's how fucking kids think sometimes, and they're all, don't talk to the cops. You don't talk to the cops. I don't talk to cops, blah, blah, blah. You've got all of this immaturity just fueling a very difficult situation because of all this, you've got a bunch of witnesses whose credibility is questionable at best, so it's like really difficult. So what she's doing right now is she's saying, if you feel uncomfortable and you're scared, and she's talking to the parents, if you feel anxious, you're losing sleep, anything like that, you come and talk to one of our counselors. We've got counselors here, and you better believe that those counselors are going to tell law enforcement, hey, this is some significant information I got from this person. You might want to look into this. It's genius, really, when you think about it. In handling a situation like that, where you have so many possible witnesses that are likely afraid to talk because they might incriminate themselves with something that they don't care about. They just want to find the girl. They just want to find Kiely. So I think that that's really, really commendable that they're going with this angle here. Because they're also, hey, make sure to this, they're gonna basically, she basically just offered that they're going to, not in so many words, coach the parents on how to deal with their kids, get them relaxed, get them not so anxious, get them to start to maybe talk, let them feel comfortable in confiding with the parents. It's very, very, very strategic. Hold on, sorry.
Really hard time, and how we can care for each other and care for this family and to bring Kiely home safely. Immediately after this, we will have a room in the rec center where therapists will be, and they'll be conducting more of a group debrief, which is a great way to work through the trauma of a time like this. And so please, if you're interested, go on in and visit that group. But again, this is the best of our community at the hardest of times for our community. Having us all come together and do everything in our power to try to help is a beautiful thing. Please heed the advice of the law enforcement professionals leading this effort. I want to call out our teen community, who has just been beyond amazing, and how they've rallied to this moment, and to encourage them to keep coming forward with their information, and take care of yourselves during this hard time. We're all here for each other.
So far, this seems like the most organized search coordination that I've ever seen yet.
We'll continue sending out any updates as we get them. We plan to send out any potential updates and additional information tomorrow morning in a press release. We can't stress this enough. Out of the 200 to 300 juveniles and young adults who were at that party at the Prosser campground Friday evening, somebody knows something about Kiely.
Yep.
We're please urging and pleading with the community to please come forward. You will remain anonymous. Please contact us through our tip line. That number is 530-581-6320, option 7. Any bit of information can help lead us to Kiely so we can bring her home safely to her family. The 2 captains and the FBI will be available for any questions, should you have any.
Angela, how many tips at this point have you received? I know the update yesterday was more than 100. Is there an update on that?
We still have over 100 tips that our detectives are working through. They're exhausting every single tip and lead. Unfortunately, we still cannot locate Kiely or her vehicle. That's why we are urging anybody who was at that party that evening to please come forward. We need to find Kiely.
Angela, another question for you. Unfortunately, people in our region in NorCal go missing. It's so rare to see this incredible of a response, both from law enforcement and the community.
Absolutely.
Why is this specific case receiving this response?
We want to leave no stone unturned. We take this case, just like any other missing persons case, extremely seriously risk right now because she is a minor and she is missing and we cannot locate her or her vehicle. We want to thank everybody who has helped us thus far, our law enforcement partners, the community, people who have come forward anonymously to try and lead us to her. And we will continue to leave no stone unturned until we bring Kiely home to her family.
Now that we have federal resources, are we able to do anything more with her cell phone and find where it came after the party? Are those resources helping?
Those details are our investigation. Unfortunately, I cannot discuss them, but please be rest assured, our detectives are doing everything in their power to try and locate Kiely.
You mind if I address that?
Sure.
I'll speak to that last question a little bit. So we are working with the FBI right now. The last information we have, cellular data is the 6th at 33 minutes after midnight. All of the tips, and we have over 200 now that we're working. And we're getting a lot of tips that are duplicates, so that's why it's important.
That's not me, guys, because you can see the update banner.
Resources.
Update on missing Team Kiely Rodni.
We're having multiple different departments look at that information.
Is it Rodni or Rodney?
But nothing has expanded beyond that timeline at this point.
Can you talk a little bit more about your investigation?
See, it's still intact, the banner.
So again, we prioritize those tips. If something comes in and it seems like a high priority, we're going to throw resources at it. We'll divert resources to address that, to check the veracity of it. And if it ends up being a false tip, I don't want to say that to discourage people from bringing information in. We don't want you necessarily to have to weigh the veracity of the tips. If you have information you think is pertinent, send it to us. A lot of people that are just focused on gathering,
Cherry,
organizing,
that's quite
triaging,
enough. Thank
and
you.
disseminating resources. So
We get it. He keeps saying tips. I get it.
So a lot of this is going to be focused at the search and rescue effort. This is a multifaceted investigation, but so we are working in conjunction with them. But we do also have detectives working with search and rescue. Obviously, the last location known, our search expands from there. And then if we get a tip about another location, we will divert resources and work that to exhaustion. But primarily, we're looking at the last known location. We're expanding beyond there. We're starting with, vehicles, OHVs that are using all those resources down to, foot patrols, aircraft. I mean, every resource that we can utilize, we are. No, and we are accepting video from people who are involved. So that's coming into a single source so that team can evaluate it.
Well, don't say people who were involved. Just say people who were in attendance. It's going to scare them.
Surveillance video from a store at 6 o'clock the day before that showed Kiely. And so we have that information. But again, it doesn't expand our timeline. It doesn't really tell us anything that we didn't know. But still, it's great. It confirms a timeline that we already have. No, we've been working with the state. Currently, an Amber Alert has not been sent out, but we have utilized a lot of other resources that are even wider reaching than the Amber Alert system. And so we're working with multiple agencies. We've sent bulletins out to local law enforcement agencies, nationwide resources. And if the criteria is met, if we get a tip that points us in that direction that will meet that criteria, we're going to continue to work with the state. If that becomes appropriate, then we will utilize that resource as well. All those resources to be able to recognize her or her vehicle at borders or any sort of location where we can track people and vehicles, those resources are all being utilized. I don't want to speak to the exact criteria of the Amber Alert, but we're looking at the Amber Alert is a system for notification with suspected child abduction. Right now, we don't have any evidence that supports an abduction. Like we said, we're not ruling anything out, and that's why we're kind of pulling out all the stops. If this was a hiker and they were known to be in an area, that would be a search and rescue effort because we're searching a very specific area. Because we don't know, we just have that timeline. We're considering everything. So no, but we're not ruling that or any other. You know, we have the same fears and concerns that any of the members of the community and the family have. So we won't rule any possibility out.
So at this point, are you still investigating this as an abduction? Is that terminology correct?
No, it doesn't. The terminology is that we're just investigating this. This is a missing persons case. This is a search and rescue effort. We are investigating using every resource under the umbrella of resources that we have access to. So what we title it is kind of irrelevant. We're doing everything we can.
It's as loud as it goes. Louisiana girl, sorry.
Because folks were drinking and partying and having fun. Hearing from you, what is your message to the crowd? If someone knows something, there's a fear about their future, getting into college, things like that. What's your message?
So when we spoke to a large group of the kids here at the community center, we made it clear we are not investigating their conduct that night. Okay, if you want to report anonymously, if you heard information from a friend and that friend doesn't want to come forward, please come forward on behalf of your friend and tell us that information. So we're not investigating you.
Notice how careful he was not to say snitch or rat or tattletale.
2 more questions at this time, sir. Unfortunately, the search is still underway and we don't want to compromise any part of the investigation, so we can't discuss that. Absolutely. They've been searched on the ground and aerially from the air.
How difficult is it being so close to the border with Nevada and Washoe County? Each agency works really well together because of search and rescues during the winter or that stuff. But how difficult is it just being able to cross that border or finding resources to partner with such dense areas around the area?
You guys want to answer that?
I think that we're fortunate to have technology on our side in all reality to deal with some of those pieces of locating, say, a license plate and things of that nature. But in relation to Placer and Nevada County, it's been pretty fluid and things have been going pretty well on that end. As far as crossing state lines and things of that nature, if you mean more like in a geographical border, we put everything in place that we can for location of the vehicle. And if there's something where somebody knows where she's at or has information, that's what we're needing to put something together. And our hope is that we'll get some sort of piece of information from doing stuff like this and people in the community that really care and want to have some help in solving this.
We'd like to wrap up the press conference now, as we'd like to get our first responders out to continue the search for Kiely, as that remains our top priority. Both captains will be available for any additional questions. You can come up to them and speak to them if you'd like. Thank you.
Okay, so I thought that was fantastic. I thought that they were very straightforward in how they answered their questions, except for Sergeant Hack. My man was a little nervous, but he gave all the information that was available. But everybody very much seems in concert with each other as far as making this a priority, finding this young girl a priority. So let's take a look real quick at the area of where she went missing from. Okay, this is the Prosser family campground. Okay, now I'm going to bring it out a little bit here. Let me just full screen this. So you can see there's not a whole lot of like civilization out there. You know what I mean? There's plenty of places here that somebody could have intercepted her. You see, these roads are very remote. So yeah, to me, this is just like So they were all partying right here. It was real dense here. Anything could have happened. She could have went to the woods with somebody and things got out of control, and uh she could have overdosed on something, and the people that were with her panicked. Um but there seems to be a lot of very easy way to be able to take off with her car. But it's very hard to believe now to actually take off with the car. It seems hard to believe that nobody at this thing saw it, right? It seems hard to believe that nobody witnessed her actually leave or the car actually leave. Somebody saw something. These law enforcement officers of all these different agencies are convinced of this. And one of the reporters made a good point too. I mean, not just fear of going to jail or getting arrested. These are school kids. They're worried about their future. They're worried about getting into a good college and this being on their record. So there's all kinds of reasons why these kids would not speak up. I mean, this is almost like a TV movie, like an episode of SVU. It's crazy to me, because one thing that I'm grateful for, though, folks, one thing that I'm really grateful for is that there's no other names involved in this. Okay. There's no other names. The mom is public, but the mom is like, well, because I'm, like she was at a party. I wasn't there. So there's no making the mom a suspect, and there's no other names for morons on social media to jump to the conclusion and jump to any conclusion and then just start making assumptions and start spreading crazy rumors. We don't know. I mean, most of the kids involved in this situation are minors, so they're not going to be made public. So right now there's this advantage There's just this advantage that law enforcement has to where, I mean, where's the speculation going to come from? You know what I mean? Like they actually said the opposite of what the TBI and Hawkins County Sheriff's Department said. They were like, no, we want all the crazy shit. Like every social media, we don't care about that. Like, let us work it out. I mean, they seem to have a lot more resources, though, than the TBI or Hawkins County. They seem to have way more resources. And probably a little more experience, to say the least, at dealing with this sort of thing. Yeah, and I'm sure it has. There's going to be people that, there's going to be, you can't stop an idiot from being an idiot. Like, I'm sitting up here naive as shit, sitting here acting like, oh, well, what's going to end up happening? There's nothing for these people to talk about. And then they're going to find something to talk about. And then I'm going to sit here and go, oh God. And then I'm going to have to shut them down, not literally shut them down. I mean, shut them down, shut down their bullshit logic. Yeah, apparently, I strike channels, and a couple other people who don't strike channels. That's going around right now. I've never stricken a channel. Never. Never. So, I mean, idiots are going to idiot, what are you going to do? I guess it's just going to make more content for me. I'm hoping that it doesn't go that way, though. I'm really hoping that this is a case where law enforcement is perfectly capable of doing what they're saying that they need done. And they're like, bring us the speculation. We're the detectives. We'll work it out. So I can't fault them for that, but what I'm not going to tolerate, quietly, is if people take that as, well, why doesn't Hawkins County and the TBI look at it that way. If that question comes up, my answer would simply be that they don't have the same resources or the experience. So their resources are limited. They need to be able to use their resources. So they obviously have the resources. That's what they were saying. We have the resources to thumb through anything, to just to just sift through anything. We have the resources for it. Now, Hawkins County, they don't. You know, Tennessee's not as big as California. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know much about Truckee, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot around Truckee. So, I mean, look at that. This is the closest thing to a residential area that I have seen. Look at that. It's just a couple of houses. There's like nothing over here. There's a car, okay? And so there's a boat launch area here. I mean, there's nothing over here. There's nothing anywhere. There's so much, like, what direction could she have gone in? Could she have said, hey, let's take off? Or some boyfriend or, somebody said, let's take off and make out somewhere, let's get away. And then they just hurt her real bad and it went too far. I mean, I don't want that to be the case. But could somebody have just heard about this thing and then been like, this is going to be a great, perfect spot to be able to grab somebody and take off with them? I mean, nobody's going to notice them gone and go looking for them until the next day. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's all kinds of, looking at that area, it just seems like it just seems like a crazy. There's just no way that anybody witnessed anything beyond the party. Look at how remote that main road is. Look at that. That's how far the most main road is from over here where they were all hanging out. I mean, it's pretty open, but that's the thing is that's what makes me think. I mean, I wonder where everybody was parking. I'd like to know where everyone was parking, because I'd like to see how easy it could have been for somebody to actually witness her getting in her car. Do we know that she even took her car to the party? Do we know that for sure? I'm curious about that. Oh, this is interesting. Somebody just sent me something. Okay. But can I hear it? Are we going to get to hear it? Okay, let me just email this to myself and then I'll go over it. This is somewhat interesting. I just don't know how credible of a news source this is, but all right. All right. So panic as teenager vanishes attending. And this video says at least 9 dead. So that has nothing to do with so it says here a frantic search is underway after a teen vanished in the middle of the night after attending a party at a campground. Oh, this is from the Sun. Okay. So divers have arrived to search a large reservoir near where a 16-year-old girl vanished after a campground party with her vehicle still missing. Kiely Rodni, is it Rodney or Rodney? I still don't know. Let me have this ready so I can at least check out the chat. I haven't watched Annie's video yet, but I plan to. Kiely, it looks like it would say Rodney, or I'll say Rodney, was last seen near the Prosser family campground in Truckee in the U.S. state of California early Saturday at about 12:30 a.m. After an end-of-school bash, the Sun reported. Police are treating her disappearance as a suspected abduction, with one friend revealing the party was filled with sketchy older guys, and the pair had spoken briefly on the phone at 12:36 a.m. A handful of officials leading the search reiterated their need for the public's help in finding Kiely during the press conference this week. If you think you have information, we want it. We will follow up on any and every lead, Sheriff Sergeant at the Placer County Sheriff's Office, Scott Alford said. What we need is the community's help, echoed Navana County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Hack. What I would encourage you to do is we need you to take advantage of the tip line and provide us with additional information. A group of divers were on Tuesday, local time, called in to search a 27-meter deep dam at Prosser County Reservoir, which spans 307 hectares and is located about an hour from Lake Tahoe as the search for the missing teen ramped up. Police revealed they already received about 100 tips relating to the teen's mysterious disappearance. Between the various sheriff's offices responding, there are 77 personnel assigned to the case who have dedicated more than 500 hours to the search so far. Officials also said there are 16 different agencies responding to the scene. In addition, more than 100 volunteers met at the local recreation center on Tuesday, where her family is staying in the camper, eager for a lead. We're going to find her. We are going to find her. We're not to be fucked with here. One loved one was overheard saying. There was 10 personnel from the Hasty team on the scene, a subgroup from Washoe County Sheriff's Office who specialize in diving. They have traveled from Reno and were by the reservoir on Tuesday morning about 9:50 a.m. They are yet to enter the water, but a spokesperson told U.S. Sun the dam is 27 meters deep. Detectives revealed on Sunday that Kiely attended a large party that night. along with more than 100 other teens and young adults. Okay, so that gives us an idea of how many were there. The teen's cell phone has been out of signal since she went missing. The Placer County Sheriff's Office is treating the teen's disappearance as an abduction after her SUV also vanished. Officials are searching for Kiely's 2013 Honda CRV, which has California license plate of 8YUR127. Kiely is described as standing at 174 centimeters and weighing. God, the fucking metric system, man. It's a British publication. Fucking limeys. With their blonde hair and hazel eyes. With her blonde hair and hazel eyes. She was 174 centimeters, weighing 52 kilograms. I don't know how much that is in inches. I don't know how much that is in pounds. Blonde hair, hazel eyes. But Cherry has been putting the description in the chat, so it's perfectly imperfect. I appreciate that. She was last seen wearing green Dickies pants, a black tank top, and jewelry. The teen also has numerous piercings and a nose ring. Teen was not fit to drive. Sammy Smith, 18, a close friend of Kiely's, had been leading the search with the teen's family as they speak to many of the attendees at an unregulated party at a local campground with the 16-year-old before she went missing. She was telling her mom that she was going to be the designated driver because that's how she was going out to the party, giving an alibi so that her mom didn't freak out and say, "I want you home earlier." That's smooth, man. That's smooth. So we're talking about a mischievous kid, dude. You know, we're not talking about a bad kid. We're not talking about a bad seed here, at least not yet. We don't have any information to indicate that, or to even start leaning towards any type of victim blaming in any way, shape, or form. What we're talking about is this is a kid doing what kids want to do, which is go out and party and not have to answer to anybody for as long as they can, as long as they can get away with it. And lie to their mom in order to get permission to do it. That's who didn't do that. Yeah, Cherry, hold your horses. Okay. I'm reading something right now. The person said she was going to drive out, actually drove me out there. So I know she only drove one friend out. She planned on getting drunk and getting fucked up. I asked her earlier on in the night if she could take me home, but she was in no fit state to drive. The last recording sighting of her was 12:40 a.m. I was the last person to speak to her at 12:36 a.m. when she asked me if I still needed a ride home. Now we know there were a lot of college people, teens, and are coming out in our teen to teen talks, in our teen to teen talks. There were a lot of sketchy older guys that were seen there. This was right about when I left, when he had the last contact, or when we had the last contact. She asked her mom for a later curfew. She was going to text her mom saying she couldn't find her friend, which is why she'd be home late. I don't think she'd ever seen that text. As it gets closer to the 72-hour mark, I haven't slept in 2 days now. I've had a maximum of 4 hours sleep combined. It's rough, I'll say, honestly. This is her friend. She's very articulate. Friends revealed they think the older boys aged around 20 to 21 came in from Sacramento or Nevada City. Family think that they heard about the party through text and social media. I love Nevada City, by the way. It's literally my favorite place that I've ever been. Marika Beck, 42, is best friends with Kiely's devastated mother, Lindsay, and said she is shattering in a free fall, quote unquote, but trying to stay strong and did not feel okay to talk late last night following a long day of searching. Marika told U.S. Sun that she had also heard a lot of older boys had crashed at the party at nearby Prosser family campground. We have been told she may have been with one or more older boys around 12:30 a.m. These guys, possibly from Reno, showed up and it got kind of weird, she said. That's interesting. A lot of the younger teens chose to leave at this time. It was meant to be just teens in the woods. They party there all the time. It's unregulated and it's not a campground. But it says it is. Okay. There is drinking and stuff. It's really unfortunate. It's a parent's worst nightmare, and we're just trying to get her home. We are asking any teens to come forward. There are no consequences and total anonymity. We just need their help. Somebody saw something at that party. We need people to talk. A lot of people have come forward saying that they were with her at the party, but they had already left before she had because of this new element that came in. She did not run away. She is a good girl. She graduated a year early with honors. She is one of the most exceptional teenagers I've ever met in my life. Just like most teens, she wanted to have fun with her friends. Exactly. This would be totally out of character. We're really concerned. She has been taken out of state, potentially trafficked and heading to the borders. So if we can get the borders actively locked down and patrolled for every fucking car that goes through there, that's what it says. Every fucking car that goes through there, it's very likely she's still in the car because they haven't found it. David Robertson, 70, Kiely's beloved grandfather, said the situation is like a bad dream. Family said she lives in the back country at a lodge hotel run by her mom, and they do not believe she ran off the road. David told the Sun she is tough. She was able to hop in a car and know that road, Grandpa says. No problem. There where other people might not have wanted to drive down it. Okay, so Grandpa's out here saying she's tough. She was able to hop in a car and know that road with no problem, where other people might not have wanted to drive down it. Because you see any street lights out there in that area that I was pointing out, there were no street lights anywhere. All those roads were dark as hell. She has her own snowmobile, Grandpa says. She has her driving license and has been driving for months. Okay, but that's not a long time. The family added that even though the situation had become a bit of a circus, they want all the help they can get. Police have told volunteers not to drive out to dirt roads and not to touch anything they find which may seem suspicious, Betty, but instead to take a picture and inform law enforcement. All right. Let me try this. I'm checking your email. Checking your email. Yeah, and that area they live in, that's where I've always wanted to live. Ever since I visited Nevada City and Sacramento, I was like, oh man, that's just the ideal place to settle down for me, man. People there are awesome. I feel comfortable if I end up going missing there, you know. Let's see, breaking news. Right. Yeah, I had just read this. Just a different. Okay, so this explains a little bit more about the diving. So the divers had just been deployed out there. It says a small submarine with a camera attached was also seen being pulled from the water. He said Detective Sergeant Scott Alford said that this is a search and rescue operation focused on the area where Kiely was last seen, and the search has expanded from there. That's right. What you do is you fan out. Right now, we have no evidence that supports an abduction, but we are not ruling it out. Okay, so cancel that shit right now. This is the latest update, people. Okay, this is the latest update, and they're not saying we're treating this as an abduction. They have corrected that. They're saying we have no evidence that this has been an abduction, but we're not ruling it out. No, I don't want to be kidnapped. No, I don't. I just said that I would feel most comfortable there with those people looking for me because they've got this together. This is being investigated as a missing persons case and a search and rescue, not as an abduction. Police boats and helicopters spent all day today searching the reservoir, 760-acre lake that lies directly beneath the camp where Kiely was last seen. A dive team from the Nevada County Sheriff's Department was also on site early Tuesday morning and was seen setting up in a spot next to the reservoir, southwest of the camping area and accessible by a dirt trail. Blonde Kiely was last seen at the party at the Prosser family campground in Truckee, California, in the early hours of Saturday morning at a party for high school students. All right. Let's actually let me we got some pictures here. So these are these search and rescue teams setting up. That first picture, first two pictures, the caption says sheriff's deputies set up a forensics tent on a ramp into Prosser Creek Reservoir and launched mini submarines fitted with cameras in a bid to find Kiely's SUV. And there's yeah, man. These guys are out there, bro. Police dive teams have now joined the search for Kiely. An exclusive dailymail.com photo shows boats searching the Prosser Creek Reservoir, which is a 760-acre stretch of water. A dive team from the Nevada County Sheriff's Department was on site early Tuesday morning and was seen setting up in a spot next to the reservoir, southwest of the camping area and accessible by a dirt trail. These guys are all business, man. Look at that. Search and rescue. They got the choppers out there. Yeah, man. All right, so there's a more detailed look of the map. Okay, so Kiely lived, that's interesting. Kiely lived 12 miles south. So she lived in that little area. Remember I pointed out that area of where those houses were? That was only 12 miles away. So she lived in one of those houses when I Google Earth that. So I could see her being 16 and justifying and being like, well, yeah, I mean, I'll tell my mom I'm the designated driver, but you know what? I'm going to get fucked up and have a good time because it's only 12 miles. I know all these roads like the back of my hand. It's only 12 miles. I got this, being all drunk and cocky. I could just see that happening. Any 16-year-old kid. I don't know her, but I'm saying any 16-year-old kid. We do know that she lied to her mother, and we do know that she told her best friend that she was drunk. She wasn't capable of driving her home yet. So her plan was, I guess, to just get wasted early. That's what it sounds like more to me, because this is a really common thing when I was a kid too. The excuse to drive home when you were drunk when you're a kid is, what I'll do is I'll just get super fucking wasted early, and then I'll just chill out and stop drinking at a certain time, and I'll sober up and then drive home, which sounds like what was her plan. It sounds like that was her plan. the way that her friend's describing the situation, the way that her mom described the situation. So yeah. But anyways, guys, any updates that I get on this case moving forward, I'm going to keep covering it. I'm going to keep talking about it. I appreciate you guys joining me. Do me a favor real quick and hit the like on your way out. I'd really appreciate it. And I love you guys a lot. Thanks for hanging out with me all this time. I mean, I know it was live earlier. I see a lot of you that was here before, and thanks for still being here. I really appreciate it. And again, real quick before I go, Kiely Rodni, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name just yet. Kiely went missing on Saturday, 6th of August at 12:30 a.m. at Prosser Family Campground in Truckee, California. The vehicle is a silver 2013 Honda CR-V, Cali plates 8YUR127. Kiely is 5'7", 118 pounds, blonde hair, hazel eyes, last seen wearing green Dickies pants, black tank top, and jewelry. She has 17 tattooed on her ribs. I've heard of getting the number 13 tattooed on you, you know, like Danzig. If you have any information on Kiely's whereabouts, please contact Placer County Sheriff's Office, 530-581-6320. Again, that's 530-581-6320. Rodni. Okay, making sure it was Rodni. I don't know why I wanted to say Rodney. I felt like Rodney was too simple. Should have applied Occam's razor. Anyways, guys, I love you. We will do this again very soon, my